Welcome back to another EVE Online video. This is going to be going over my Ishtar ratting fit. This is a Galante drone boat. It's new player friendly, pretty easy to skill into. It's the gameplay of it is really brainless. You can kind of just go out and throw out your drones, target up things from a distance, and just shoot them down like I'm doing right now. It's definitely an entry-level ship. You could do rat sight solo with it. If you're running with somebody else, the best use of it is to like assist your sentries to that other ship, and they can kind of control the fire and stuff like that. This fit usually doesn't run a clone, just because you can run hydras with it, and there are some hardwired drone implants you can get as well. But some are kind of pricey, some are limited. So for this video, I'm just going to kind of cover this as a cloneless beginner ratting ship. And as you can see here, we're doing it more or less shines with things that are like sub battleship, right? You know, your cruisers, your battle cruisers, your frigates, and everything like that. The gameplay is pretty simple, right? You throw a target painter on whatever you want, you know, to attack. Usually it's alpha targets one by one. And then just hit F if you need to manually target with the sentries. You usually come in, I usually come in at about 50 kilometers from 0 on the rat site. That puts me anywhere between like 60 to 80 from the spawns. Our range on this is about 100. So whenever you're putting it together and you're getting your skills and everything situated for it, you want to make sure your targeting range, your drone control range, and your sentry optimal range are all over 100, just so that you can kind of like park really far out and kill stuff, kind of like we're doing right here. So what I'll do is I'm just going to run through the fit. As you can see on the screen right here, for our high powers, we're going to be using a DroneLink Augmentor 2 and then a DroneLink Augmentor 1. This is just to kind of get our control range up above the 100 kilometer mark. And then for our medium power, we're going to be using a shield extender, medium shield extender 2, a medium C5L compact shield booster. This is just so you can run it to like kind of keep the damage kind of repaired with the shield. Multispectrum shield Hardener 2 just for a little bit more tank. And then I use a Republic Fleet target painter just because it requires less skill than an actual target painter 2, which would be more friendly for newer players to get into. For low power, we're looking at Assault Damage Control 2, so if you get into any like trouble, this will give you a little bit of time of like really high resistance, so you can actually like kind of either warp off or get your shield situated again. If you have to, if you're taking a lot of damage, you can also sig tank with this. You can leave your sentries in place and kind of just move around while stuff is firing at you. That's an option you can do as well. And then we're also using 3 drone damage amplifiers for increasing the damage of our drones, and then 2 omnidirectional tracking enhancer 2s to also help with the tracking of our drones. For our rigs, we're using a medium core defense extender 2 just for more tank, and then we're using a medium sentry damage amplifier 2 since the majority of our damage is actually coming from our sentries. The drone setup we're doing right now is I carry 7 wardens just in case you kill one dies, you have 2 spare. I carry 5 lights, and I have 5 heavies, and then 5 mediums as well, depending on what you need to do. Sometimes you won't be able to use the sentries, so like if there's stuff that's kind of overwhelming you, you can start like moving around, sig tanking, and throwing out your normal drones on top of everything. But otherwise, it's a pretty simple build. As you can see, it has a little bit of trouble with battleships. So what I do is I just try to take the battleship rats down last, just to take damage off the field essentially, because a lot of the damage you're going to be taking is going to be from cruisers, destroyers, battle cruisers, and things like that. And the sentries are really good at taking those down in a pretty effective manner. You just gotta like keep hitting F. Sometimes they won't follow the painter. It's hit or miss. For the most part, the painter will help with the signature radius on the target, so it's easier for the drones to hit it, as you can see here. So you just keep targeting, and then you just keep taking things down. Like I'm just gonna save these battleships for last. We are taking a little damage just because of the amount of battle cruisers and destroyers on the field, but what you'll see is once we get this these cruisers down and we just have battleships left, we're gonna start kind of keep catching up on that shield, which is why we run a booster. And you don't have to run a booster. You can run the sig tank if you wanted to. I just find it's a lot easier to just run kind of a static whereas a build where you can just stay in place, because what that'll allow you to do is if a nuke comes in system, you can just, you know, shift R to suck in your sentries, and then you can just warp off, right? If you drop your sentries and you're kind of moving around and trying to sig tank and a nuke comes in, then you're going to have to spend the time to circle around to get those sentries back up into the drone bay, or you just have to leave them behind, which I don't really like doing, especially if you have to worry about like bringing in drones from like Jita into nullsec, which can be rather time consuming. So as you see here, we have we just have these 4 battleships left, so we're going to start just taking them down. And the other thing you can do here too, since the sentries aren't necessarily great with battleships, and you usually don't do this until like the last wave or so, you can actually suck the sentries in and then throw Wasp out, which are your heavies. They're slower moving, so they're going to take a little bit longer time to get to the target, but for the most part I don't mind just kind of waiting, because you know, if you have like drones way out here at like 50k fighting and a nuke comes in, even if you recall them, they're not going to come back in time for you to want to get off grid, right? So the benefit of the sentries being way out here is you can just pick them up when you need to and just kind of, you know, take off when you need to. So as you see, it takes a little bit to get these battleships down, but you just, you know, adjust what you're running accordingly. You know, you don't have to necessarily run ports. You can run rally points. You can run anything, you know, on the lower end, and then the null routing spectrum. But otherwise, it's a pretty cheap fit. I think this comes in at around like 270 or 280 million for the fit. And then skilling is not necessarily that intensive. I mean, the major skills for this are the Sentry interfacing, Sentry drone interfacing 5. You want that. You want the heavy assault cruiser 5 for the scaling, for the drone damage and the tracking and everything like that. And then other things too, like your drone damage skills, drone sharpshooting, your faction drone skills, anything that can just kind of like make your drones perform a little bit better. And obviously any like shield stuff as well. As you can see, we've caught up on this tank. We've caught up on our shield a little bit. It's not cap stable completely. It's like -4 on the cap, so we can actually cut this booster for a while, and we'll go up pretty quick on our cap here. But yeah, this is a really good beginner ratting ship. Highly recommended. I used this for quite a while when I was training into other things. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and come back for more ratting stuff for EVE Online. And peace out.